Hey, what's up everybody? Today I'm going to show the process behind these fluid art hexagon pieces. I made 35 of them, so I'm only going to show some of them being made in this video, but I really just love how many different patterns you can create with them, and they really just make for a unique art piece whether you have a large or small area to cover. I started off with peel and stick vinyl flooring hexagons, which I spray painted in primer beforehand. Next I used a combo of acrylic paints, Floetrol, silicone oil, and water, which is the leftover paint from my clock making process video if you saw that as well. For this one I used this cool enchanted paint, which you can't see the outcome until it dries, kinda like pottery, but I figured it would look really cool with blue and purple spiraling over a black background, and as with each piece here I had to play around with it and just experiment with how the paint moves around in all kinds of different ways, but it's all part of the process. This next one I just added one layer after the next over a white background, and since most people use a hairdryer or straw to blow around the paint, of course I had to try and put my own spin on it and use an air duster can. Not a bad experiment, it kinda reminds me of a comic book the way it turned out. Next up is another white background, and I just spread a bunch of lines of paint over each other before using a swipe technique where you coat a flat object in a layer of paint and slowly swipe it or skim it through the paint to blend it all together. This one is called a flip cup technique, but instead of mixing up the paint in the cup like in others, I just kept it in the layers before carefully flipping it upside down and slowly letting it flow outward. I gave it a spin and then tried to work with a little bit and blow it around as well. And next is the last one I have time for in this video, but I'll show more in the next one. Here I just spread layers over a black background and used a paper towel swipe technique, and I actually thought I was being really creative when I did this, but of course it's actually a common technique after I watched more videos on it. Now it's time to add the resin, which I made a makeshift enclosure out of old plastic sheets. I made sure each of them was level and clean before beginning. I covered them up with a heater inside and let them cure overnight, and repeated the process the next day. Some of them took 3 coats total due to imperfections here and there, and considering this was only the first round of 35, you can tell this was quite a lot of work. After the resin was good to go, I tried a bunch of methods to remove the drips on the back, but the quickest way by far was to just use my angle grinder while being extra cautious. Finishing all that sanding, I used rubbing alcohol to clean each piece and moved on to cutting the hexagons with a jigsaw. And also used an orbital sander to polish them up. Here I'm just using my torch to go over each hexagon to help bring out the grain and get that unique burn look I love. With each piece burned, I used acrylic sealer to finish them up, and despite using 3 coats, they still look very splotchy, so I had to Mod Podge each one to finally get them fully sealed and ready to add the vinyl pieces. I just used hot glue on each of the corners and in the middle, then pressed down lightly for about 10 seconds. That glue is really strong and dries fast, so it was perfect for this. So after just repeating that process a bunch of times, I was finally done and ready to hang them up. I just used strong double-sided removable tape, and then you're free to make your own arrangement. Super easy. with that said, here's some of the patterns I came up with, and I hope you like how it turned out. And let me know what you think, or if you'd like to own some yourself. Alright, well, if y'all enjoyed this, those likes and shares are greatly appreciated. On to the next one. Hope you are too.